Listen. This case is empty.
What do you mean, empty?
Empty. The opposite of full. This case is supposed to be full. Anyone care to explain?
The Guardians gave the stones to someone that they could trust? Who took another route? She's supposed to contact this person in a hotel? She's looking for the address. Easy.
Dot.
It's planet Flohston in the Angel constellation.
We're saved.
I'm screwed.
You asked for a case, we brought you a case.
A case with 4 stones in it! Not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4! 4 stones! What the hell am I supposed to do with an empty case?
We are warriors, not merchants.
But you can still count! Look, it's easy. Look at my fingers. 4 stones, 4 crates. 0 stones, 0 crates! Pack everything up, we're out of here!
We risked our lives. I believe a little compensation is in order.
Oh, so you are merchants after all. Leave me 1 crate for the course. All that warriors. 2 narrow minds, no subtlety. And worse, they fight for hopeless causes. Oh no. Honest kill millions of people, I haven't saved a single one. Tell you what I do like, though. A killer. A dyed-in-the-wool killer. Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough. Now, a real killer, when he picked up the ZF-1, would have immediately asked about the little red button on the bottom of the gun.
It's Two Dads, One Movie. It's the podcast where 2 middle-aged dads sit around and shoot the shit about the movies of the 80s and 90s. Here are your hosts, Steve Paulo and Nick Brianna. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Dads, One Movie. I'm Steve.
And I'm Nick.
And today we are watching, or we did watch, and we're going to talk about the 1997 sci-fi action adventure big things going on, crazy blockbuster movie, The Fifth Element. And Nick, you brought The Fifth Element to the table for us. So why don't you tell us a little bit about why we watched it?
Yeah, The Fifth Element I thought would be a fun one to revisit. I don't believe we've seen Gary Oldman yet.
You might be right. Which is a
so
shame.
Always good to check a box where there's someone that we haven't seen yet. We've only seen Tiny Zeus Lister once, so we needed to see him again. And of course, that Bruce Willis guy is fine too. Yeah, so this is a movie that came out, 97, like you said. Yeah. I definitely saw it in the theater. I think I saw it multiple times in the theater. I believe this was playing at the theater that I worked at.
There you go.
And I remember it was coming out, I think it was like May 5th or May, something like that, when it came out. And because there was this poster and it was like, it must be found, but the S in must was the letter or the number 5. Oh. And I remember our friend, who you might remember from high school, Dave Schwanke, would say, it must five it be found. So that was something but like me and those guys, like Todd and Paul Evans, like these guys would really love this film. And we watched it a bunch. When it first came out, we would quote it a lot. And then when this dropped on like pay-per-view, it was an immediate record off pay-per-view so we could all get a dub of it. And it just went around. So like during my late teens, this was like a big time movie for me.
Nice.
How about you, Steve? You see this one before?
I absolutely have seen it before. I think I saw it in the theater as well. Would have been just the one time. I didn't work at a theater, so almost anything I saw in the theater was just once, except for like Jurassic Park and The Matrix. Probably saw those like 5 times each in the theater. But generally, I did see it in the theater. Wasn't like a huge fan, but I thought it was neat. I remember being very annoyed by Chris Tucker the first time around watching it, but then kind of he grew on me a little. I feel like watching this more in college, I think I got to appreciate some of the sort of like whimsy around it a little more. I don't think it quite landed for me in 97. And I think partly because I was watching a lot of sci-fi at that time.
There were good ones, like you said,
Right, and just to run down real quick, a handful of the sci-fi movies that came out in 1997 along with The Fifth Element include Men in Black, Mimic, Contact, Event Horizon, Gattaca, Starship Troopers, Alien Resurrection. They were all in that year as well. And I know I saw Event Horizon, Contact, and Men in Black all in the theater as well. So if you think about the kind of sci-fi those three movies are, you got like a horror, you got like a really science fact-based science fiction in Contact, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got the kind of big broad comedy in Men in Black. This didn't fit into any of those categories.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe closest to MIB, but like this is still so much weirder.
Yes,
in a lot of
definitely.
ways. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm definitely not against weird movies. I love absurdism, all this stuff. But for a while, it was definitely something that didn't quite land with me. And then I think I saw it in college, like the kind of thing where I went to a friend's apartment and we're drinking and somebody has had it on. And I remember watching going, actually, this is kind of dope. Like, it's interestingly, I feel very similarly about the old Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, interesting.
Hated it originally, thought the costumes were hella stupid. Saw it again like maybe 5 years ago and went, this is not that bad. It's just weird.
I'll have to revisit
It's not
it.
that bad.
I don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
Oh, that one's bizarre. The Koopa Troopas are 7 feet tall. So
John Leguizamo loved getting put into like 9 hours of makeup.
Well, he wasn't admitting crazy. He was Luigi.
It was that Spawn movie where he played some crazy fucking
the Violator, the big fat guy. Yes. Okay, back to The Fifth Element.
Yes,
let's
sir.
go ahead and jump into the facts on this movie. The Fifth Element was released on May 9th, 1997. That's interesting. So maybe the 5 for May, and then there was probably
That's
9
what it
on there
was,
somewhere
yeah.
else. Yeah, with a PG-13 rating, which I think it skirts the line on. I think if this had been an R, it wouldn't have shocked me. I don't know, but like
it's a hard PG.
It's a hard PG-13. Yeah, running time of 126 minutes. Directed by Luc Besson, who we know also did Leon the Professional and La Femme Nikita. Written by Luc Besson and Robert Mark Kamen. It stars Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, and Mia Jovovich. Rotten Tomatoes score of 71%, which I think is actually pretty reasonably good for a movie that's so strange to get that sort of level of critics coming together to say, yeah, this was a thumbs up, essentially, is good. An IMDb score of 7.6, which is very solid. And we get 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert. They both like this one. I don't think we've seen a 2 thumbs up movie in a while.
No,
We've got a lot
our
of
uncles were not
decisions.
fighting during this one.
No,
That's
this
good
was-
to know.
This was good. So quite a bit of awards activity on this. Nothing huge. I was nominated for an Oscar in 98 for Best Sound Editing. Did not win. It was did win, though, a BAFTA in 1998, which we know, of course, is sort of the British Oscars for Best Special Effects. I think that's very valid. Good special effects in this movie. At the 1998 Razzies, it picked up 2 nominations for Worst Supporting Actress for Mia Jovovich and Worst New Star for Chris Tucker. And that's one of those awards they give out to somebody for multiple films in the same year.
Okay.
So it was shared with his role in Money Talks. So yeah, at the 1997 Stinkers, they picked up a couple nominations as well. Both Tucker and Jovovich as well for their roles, but also Worst Picture and what they call the Worst Sense of Direction, which is like Worst Director, I guess, for Luc Besson. But at the 1998 César Awards, which are like the French Oscars, it picked up 8 nominations and 3 wins total, including Best Director, Best Cinematography, and Best Production Design. Which I don't know what he was up against, given that that's mostly French creators only. But production design, no brainer, absolutely gorgeous, crazy looking stuff.
Sure.
Very cool. But yeah, Best Director, Best Cinematography. Yeah, it's interesting that he also got a stinker nomination for Worst Director. I always find that interesting. When you see stuff like that on a $90 million budget, which you don't make this movie for less than that.
It's an expensive film.
It's a lot going on. It did pull in $264 million for 2.9 times what it cost. That is definitely a what we'd call a blockbuster, making that much on that kind of a budget. So those are the facts on The Fifth Element. And
all right.
Nick, why don't you kick us off, man? How does this movie kick off?
Yeah, so The Fifth Element starts, and we're kind of getting a view from space of Earth, and kind of slowly brings us towards Earth, and we see this kind of large ship that's hovering over, like really funky looking. They do a good job with some of this stuff where it's like ancient and futuristic at the same time. So that's kind of the vibe of this ship that we see. And then we're on Earth, and it says, Egypt, 1914. And we've got a couple of archaeologists kind of working away to translate these runes that are carved into the wall. There's an older man who's doing that, and he's got this young boy who's reflecting the light from outside to his spot to like give him some look. And he keeps saying to this kid, Aziz, light, because the kid's kind of falling asleep. The light's going away. His sidekick with him is Luc Perry.
Yes.
And this is the second recent 90210 alum that we've seen in a movie.
That's right.
He's also playing a character named Billy, like Jason Priestley did in Tombstone. So,
and did you notice at the beginning of the credits, he got an "and" credit in this?
Crazy.
So it's like, it says like Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, Ian Holm, Mia Jovovich, Chris Tucker, and Luc Perry, which is like, wow. Good for Luc Perry. Good agent, I think.
Yeah. Or the director just has a thing for Luke's.
Yeah, that's true.
And I hope to see Ian Ziering playing a Billy in a future film on our list here. So he's translating these runes, and it looks like he's really coming across some information that's surprising him. And he's like, oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. There's a fifth element. I'm trying to figure out what this is, and it looks like they're fighting this force of evil. And there's all the four elements, earth, wind, and fire, and whatever the other one is.
Right.
And then in the middle, there's the fifth element, and he's discovering it. And there's a kind of a priest there that overhears this and seems very concerned. Like, my duty is to protect this information from getting out. So he like kind of gets this look, and then poisons this water and goes to present it to him like, these guys already know too much. I got to stop this.
Yeah, this is very much the character from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with like the Rosicrucian tattoo on his chest. It was like trying to keep everybody away from the Grail or whatever. Same idea in a lot of ways. But the man, this archaeologist, whoever is like looking at the hieroglyphics, doesn't, initially doesn't sip the water. So the guy, the priest or whatever, is like, oh, well, let's toast to your success then, like whatever. And he throws the water. He goes, you can't toast with water? Like, let's get some whiskey or I don't know what he has.
Some wine,
wine or whatever it is. So all these plans of this priest to like take care of this are not happening, but the spaceship that we kind of saw in the opening sequence over Earth is now landing in front of this temple, and it looks bizarre. It looks crazy. Like a very strange looking ship.
Yeah, it's very upright and and then these aliens get out, and they have the body shape of like people in Gary Larson's Far Side cartoons, kind of.
Yeah, okay.
Like just like you draw like a big fat armadillo or something like that. Like
that would work.
It's such a very weird. How would you describe these guys?
They're like big turtles or something that are on 2 feet. They're enormous spacesuits or whatever they're in. Obviously, they're obviously not. They're not. This is not the flesh and blood of these creatures. They're in some kind of a spacesuit, it seems like, right? But they have to waddle. They can't raise their arms up very high. Like, they have this little tiny head and neck that sticks out of the thing. It's very strange. That's where I think I get the turtle feel from. It looks like a shell and then a neck and everything. Very bizarre, goofy ass looking alien spacesuits. But they say basically, the priest is like, no, I've got it. I got it under control. Don't worry about it. He's like, and they say, war is coming. The stones are no longer safe on Earth. We need to take them with us. And they're referring, of course, to World War I. These creatures obviously knew World War I was about to start, which is interesting because it said we're in 1914. So war is coming. The stones are not safe. We're going to take them. And so they walk into this. He's got this key in his finger, one of these alien guys. Sticks it into a particular between 2 bricks or something, opens up the wall, and the archaeologist is like, well, that's interesting. Like he's all like, he thought he was cracking the code. He had no idea what was going on. Goes into this chamber where there is this sarcophagus in the middle where it's really weird looking, because unlike a sarcophagus you'd see in like King Tut's tomb or something where the face is like looking outward, it's looking up. So it's like this whole thing looks, and then there are these stones on 4 pillars. So they gather up all the stones, and you see the aliens taking the sarcophagus and the stones kind of back out. But the Luc Perry character, Billy, is freaking out and like gets a gun because they made the archaeologist pass out, the doctor, like they made him faint or something. So he's like, no, father, they killed Dr. So-and-so, this is whatever. And he's like, what? And he trips over something and fires the gun. Yes. Which I think causes the whole thing to start closing, right? It's like going to shut down. Yeah. One of these alien dudes is stuck inside. Right. And the priest's like, come on, you could still make it. You can still make it, just moving so slow. Just waddling. So so basically Luc Perry, the other archaeologist, end up trapped inside this thing as it shuts. And the alien reaches out its finger with this little computer chip looking thing on the very end of it, and that gets slammed in the door. And then, that's kind of the last we have. But basically, to the priest, it's your job to protect this. Like, you protect this knowledge, protect, Yeah, and he says, like, the priest says something like, well, without the weapon, like, how can we defend ourselves when evil comes back? And the alien says, in 300 years, when evil returns, we will too. Yes. Is basically, so he says, like, we're not going to leave you out to dry. But so there's this. So he gives him the key, and then we get 300 years later. Time's not important. Only life is important. Because this is repeated. Absolutely. So it's important to bring that up there. So now we're 300 years
later, right?
Yeah, it says 300 years later, but there is later a thing on one of the characters' desks that has the date, and it says, I think, like 2260 something or whatever.
Oh, funny.
So it's a little more than 300 years later, not exactly 300 years, but yes, 3 centuries into the future, and we see Debo, Tiny Lister, as the president of the Federated Territories or something, whatever, some kind of galactic president. He even mentions something about, like, I think 200 or 300 billion people or something are under his, in his control or protection or whatever. And so there's, and then what exactly happens?
They're in this so the president and some other people are in this kind of command center, and they're talking to a ship that's closer to this thing, this object that's appeared, and it's this unknown object in space that's kind of like planet looking, and it keeps getting larger. And they notice, like, if they fire upon it, like, it's getting larger,
makes it expand,
and they're trying to decide what to do with it. So one of the members of this kind of council is a priest named Vito Cornelius, like, maybe the highest ranking religious figure or somebody who's going to counsel on this stuff. And he's saying, don't shoot it. It's just going to keep getting bigger. Like, if you put aggression or anger or evil into this, it's going to grow, because this is essentially like pure evil. So don't do that.
And that's Ian Holmes' character, Cornelius.
Yes.
Who would go on to play, Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit, right?
Yes,
or not in The Hobbit, in the Lord of the Rings. But yeah, so there's that, and then it's like they keep shooting at it, and it keeps getting bigger, and then finally it's actually like growing towards these ships that have been firing upon it to an extent that they can't stop it. It just keeps growing, and kind of takes over and destroys these capital ships.
And these are
like
Darth Vader, like those big triangular starships they have, right? This is an enormous thing, right?
And then, but I think this is when Corbin Dallas wakes up from this as if it were a dream. It almost seems like, but
that's weird. So now we wake up with Bruce Willis, Corbin Dallas, in probably one of the bleakest future apartments I've ever seen. It's almost a jail cell.
It makes Blade Runner look like Sesame Street. Like, it is so, like, just dystopianly, like, oh God, how does anybody live like this?
Oh my God.
It looks like it's 4 feet across by 10 feet long or something. It's so small.
So, and it's all metal. So he has this little apartment. One of the good gags in this is there's on the wall, it looks like it's a dispenser for his cigarettes for the day. It says something about quit smoking. And there are these 4 cigarettes that are all like 80% filter.
Huge.
They just have like a little tiny part with the tobacco on the end.
I always wondered if that would work. You know, like would that actually make them safer?
Right?
I don't know.
I mean, if those sticks, those long cigarette sticks from Troop Beverly Hills prevent cancer, who knows what this will do. So he wakes up, and his apartment, it is just absolutely like very Blade Runner. It's just bleak, industrial, no decor, no greenery anywhere, right? And he has somebody at his door. And so he goes up, Corbin Dallas answers his door, and he looks through the peephole, and it's just, the hallway. And he opens the door, and there's a guy who pulls his head up, and he had basically a photograph of the hallway on top of a hat, and pointed that at the peephole.
Pretty smart.
Good move. I like that. It's like hanging the picture on the surveillance camera,
I don't know how this tweaker was that smart, though, because he's not smart for anybody to point at this.
So he looks up, and is definitely a tweaker type guy. And Corbin Dallas is like, okay, unimpressed by this guy. This guy's got a gun in his face. He's like, give me the cash, man. Give me the cash. And Corbin Dallas is explaining to him, oh, what kind of gun is that? Oh, is this model? Well, it actually doesn't. It's not armed. You have to push this button here, So he goes, and this guy's freaking out. He's like, like that really funny job by this little bit part here. So this guy's freaking out, and it ends with Corbin taking the gun from him.
You should let me keep this. Is a dangerous weapon.
He points his gun at this guy, takes this guy's gun, and then this like basket comes down from the ceiling, and it looks like it's got 30 confiscated guns that Corbin Dallas has accumulated from like people doing the same shit.
Lives in a rough part of town, I guess, is what it is.
You think if you live in a metal box, at least people can't get in. So he has the same security as Lebowski's apartment,
right?
Except that he lives in this like constantly surveilled dystopian future. It's crazy.
We should mention too, there's military sort of medals and different commendations and things around Dallas's apartment. And he gets a phone call about the cab that he drives and getting worked on, and the guy keeps calling him Major. So he's clearly, ex-military, which definitely factors in. And then I think the next scene we get is we get to meet the pig guys, right? Because the people are flying back, like the aliens we saw at the beginning, the turtle looking ones, right, are flying back to Earth, or trying to.
Yes, because it's their 300-year appointment.
Right,
And they made it. And they're called the Mondo Shawan or something like that.
I didn't write any of that shit down.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep these things straight here.
I got the turtle aliens and the pig guys. That's what I got.
So Vito Cornelius, the priest, and the president, Tiny Lister, are kind of talking, and what Vito Cornelius says is, we have 48 hours to stop this thing. It's going to keep expanding, and we're fucked. The good thing is our friends with the stones are on their way.
Right.
300 years later, just like we planned on.
Yep.
No flat tires, no travel delays. Like, they're just going to arrive here. And props to these guys. They're there.
Yeah.
They're pulling
On time.
in. So it's like, cool. Yep. We knew about this and now we're here for it. So no stress. We're just going to park our spaceship gently on the ground. And then out of nowhere, these smaller kind of fighter ships appear with these, I don't know how to describe these kind of monster.
I've always called them
guys.
pig guys.
Yeah,
and they're not really
look,
pigs. They're not quite snouty enough, but they kind of have a pig vibe to them.
Yeah. Very, very puppety looking guys, which became a distraction because of how much of the movie these guys are in. I didn't remember how much it was showing these motherfuckers.
All the time.
This was Dark Crystal-ish like, throughout this thing.
Absolutely.
But the pig guys shoot down the hero benevolent alien race with the advanced technology because apparently they have no weapons. They have no way of defending themselves.
Yeah.
So they turn into a big pile of dust on the planet's surface. We're fucked. The stones were on board. What are we going to do?
Yeah. And Vito is, I can't say Corleone. Cornelius, Vito Cornelius is like, we're doomed or whatever. But there are almost immediately, some government officials are able to get to the wreck, search it, find that there's no stones there. They were taken, right? Or they weren't there. And then, but recover the hand of one of the beings. And it's being transported, just the hand, to like this like nuclear lab or whatever, where they're going to do something with it. And the scientist there is saying like, well, look, we only need a few cells and we can do a full clone like reproduction. And this particular being, whatever, like we have X number of like, whatever genetic pairs or something in our DNA. They have like 200 times that or something. So it's like, the idea being this is
like
potentially,
you need so little of it to clone something from it.
And the potentially the secret to like the way life exists, or like all life is potentially encoded here. Like this is like a discovery kind of thing. And so they put this hand into this big metal tube or whatever, and it starts like recreating. It was really
just 3D printing a person. It looked very cool.
The effects was great. I think it really held up. I was really impressed by the special effects in this section. I really thought it was good.
It was kind of like Starship Troopers, where they're reconstructing Johnny Rico and stuff like that. Very, very cool. And in Face Off, where they're making the ear in the
same
thing.
Idea. Same year, both movies.
Yeah, that's right. Both of them. So one guy thought of that idea and it got in 3 movies. So it's a cool scene, and it's funny. It's a hand that's still holding on to something.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of goes away. It would be really funny if it goes. So it ends up creating this person, but it's not creating one of these armadillo turtle guys. It's creating human woman.
Well, but I think the point is that's who's inside those things. Like, I honestly think that, like, that is just armor and spacesuits, those guys. And that what's inside them is essentially, visibly indistinguishable from human, but some other being altogether. And they wear those spacesuits and things to travel to other planets. Like, that's my...
that makes sense.
That's what I thought.
Well, that's why they'd have an interest in Earth in the first place.
Exactly.
And all that
So
stuff.
I think that's what's going on. But it creates Milla Jovovich. Obviously, they're all kind of like, oh, my God, she is perfect. Like, this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then they have to put thermal bandages on her. They can't just give her clothes.
It's just basically like Luc Besson saying, cover up the nipples.
Yeah, just the nips and
That's
the booty.
my wife. I did read that was Luc Besson's wife from 97 and 99. He was married to Milla Jovovich. So may have had something to do with the casting decision.
Or vice versa. Because if they would have been cast before 97.
That's true.
This movie came out in 97. So.
That was the agreement. You marry me when we're done. And there are, like, throughout this movie, they do a good job of picking really weird looking people.
Yeah.
Like people who have very interesting faces and interesting hairstyles and stuff like that. So a lot of the people, the people that are working in this lab have very, very funky looks. Mm-hmm. We find out that the attack to shoot this ship down in the first place was ordered by Zorn, who's Zorg.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman's.
Yeah.
I was thinking of A View to a Kill, Christopher Walken's character. So Gary Oldman's character Zorg ordered the attack for some reason. So the machine constructs the person. It's funny when it goes like it makes the bones, and then it does like the muscular tissue, and then he says something about, and now we blast it with slightly greasy solar atoms, and the body responds naturally by like growing skin, like the way that the scientist was saying. And I'm like, slightly greasy solar atoms? Ew.
What happened here, 100%, is that they couldn't do CGI realistically to do, they could do it for bones, they could do it for like tendons and sinew, but they couldn't do it for skin, so they had to cover it up. And then the explanation is so hand wavy. It's solar things. It just makes skin. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
Greasy solar atoms.
Greasy solar atoms. That's a thing. That's a thing. Those can be greasy. So that's I'll just be like, real quick. Like, some of the problems I have with this movie are the place that there's this incongruousness between where they decide to give us a bunch of detailed story about something and other places where they hand wave away really complicated shit that like doesn't make much sense. Right. So it's like, why did that work like that? I guess I don't know. This is 300 years or 250 years or now, Jesus Christ, I can't do my own math. At this point, this is 200 years in the future, give or take. And yet the biggest star in the world has a radio show. Yeah,
they missed on a few of these things.
There's a few things here that don't quite work, but this is one of them. The how did skin get created doesn't fly with me, and I'm not even a scientist. So.
Greasy solar atoms. So now Mila Jovovich has been created. She's wrapped in her thermal bandage, this really cool looking kind of white uniform thing that she's in. And she's in this glass terrarium, just kind of freaking out. Yeah. She doesn't speak the language. Obviously, she's saying things. They don't know what she's saying, and they don't know what language is. It's some divine language. They refer to it later. And the fucking generals and stuff are like taunting her. They're like tapping on the glass. So this one guy goes up and he taps on the glass, and he's just kind of like, "Hey, sweetie, if you don't start speaking English," it's like, what's your expectation here, dude? You're not amazed by anything you just saw.
The whole thing is incredible.
The second she was made from the hand of a spacesuit, basically, and now this beautiful woman appears, and you're just like, "Speak English or get out of my country, bitch!" Like, Jesus, man.
Oh my god!
But it is funny that she punches through the glass to like grab him and smash him against it to knock him out. She escapes very easily. She hits the button, and she like Kool-Aid Man's through the wall that's made out of
foil.
Like, it's made out of the wrapping on those like Ferrero Rochers.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I didn't. None of it made any sense.
Maybe. Like it's like
we're high enough. Like the idea that we get in a second is we're probably high enough up that you need some kind of pressurization indoors potentially,
maybe,
or at least something that a 105-pound being can't just like do a casual dive all the way through.
You would think it is very Blade Runner-ish, where all of the society is built vertically now, right? Like we've run out of space, and so all of our buildings have to be like 5 miles tall or some shit, and there's like strata within the society as you go down, and none of this ever gets explained, but it's sort of hinted at.
And it would have been
would have been interesting to at least understand what the fuck is going on. But that's okay. She busts out. She gets like cornered, very fugitive style, where on the edge of the building, and the cops who look like kind of Judge Dredd-ish, sort of, but like, not know if you saw that one with Sylvester Stallone. Like, they got that kind of look to them.
They totally do.
Huge helmets, big wide body armor, like very strange looking.
Unnecessarily big,
very wide.
It's like a cross between the Judge Dredd uniform and those big sumo suits that they have you fight in at like corporate retreats.
Yep.
Like
team building exercises. I think
it doesn't make any sense.
We should mention, because I didn't realize we didn't mention it before, but the costume design for the entire film was by very famous French couture designer Jean-Paul Gaultier. Did all of the costume design for this movie, so that was his take on it. Now I don't know how Besson might have also been very, very involved, in that design and everything. But these are, Jean-Paul Gaultier's name is attached to all of this. So.
And I wonder if the effect is like that all the cops in this, when they're in the uniform, are so lumbery and dipshitty with everything that they do. And I wonder if that's intentional, but
almost all of them seemed overweight too. I don't know if it was 100% of them, but most of them seemed like fat guys.
Right.
So
and
I feel like there was a commentary there.
Eating McDonald's, like it shows them doing fat guy stuff.
Yes.
Like they're not interested in fitness or chases or anything like that.
Well, you can't chase anybody anymore.
No.
Right? If the whole world is flying, like it's like, what do you even do anymore?
So the Mila Jovovich jumps off the ledge. She's been followed out to this ledge, surrounded by the cops, and they see that, okay, she's got no ID, which means you have no ID, you're done. Like,
because like everybody's in the system
Yeah.
in this future, they assume, right? So to have no file at all is like, well, that's
so you're
weird.
a problem. Like,
You're
you
some
don't belong
kind of
here.
Yeah, exactly.
And she ends up diving.
Yep,
Does
just
the
swan
Richard Kimball dive,
Yeah.
and luckily there's a nice soft roof of a taxi cab to break her fall.
Blows right through Corbin Dallas's cab roof, which he almost then crashes. And we get this thing too where like you have points on your license left, which is kind of the opposite at least of how points work in California. Where getting them is bad. You don't want them.
Right.
Now there's a certain number of points you're like allowed to fuck up a certain amount before they take away your license or something. And so he had 5 points left, and this person falling through his roof takes 4.
Yeah.
So now he's down to his last point or whatever. So he tries a little bit to figure out what's going on. The cops kind of stop him and, hey, like there's somebody in your car. We need to arrest her, like all this stuff. And at first he's like, I can't do this. Like I can't, I'm going to let them get you. Sorry, lady. I don't know who you are and I don't have any time to deal with this. But then she sees a little like, sign on the back, like an ad for something that just says, please help, with like a little kid, like a donation thing, charity or something. And she tries to pronounce the words because it's a sad looking kid. So I think she's figuring, again, this is like a brutally intelligent, right? Massively intelligent being that just has no way to communicate in English. Right. That's sort of the problem, which is like little problem here. So either she's a clone and doesn't have any of the knowledge of the original Supreme Being, right? If she's just a physical clone, she would have the brain of a baby, basically, which is one possible explanation. But she kind of figures stuff out real fast. And then later, it's like, I guess later when they're teaching her about human history, it had been 5,000 years. I guess nobody spoke English 5,000 years ago, did they? Yeah, that wasn't a language then. Okay, that actually works out okay. There's pieces of this that don't quite make sense to me, but I guess that actually isn't really a whole the way I thought it was. I was thinking like, why wouldn't she know how to speak English? Or why does either she should have all of the memories of the original Supreme Being, including how to speak English, or none of them, and then she wouldn't really know what the fuck she was doing, which wouldn't work for the plot. But then I realized they said she was asleep for 5,000 years. It's not like she was flying the ship.
Okay.
Which is another reason why the fact that it was that same kind of spacesuit hand holding something was weird. She should have been in the sarcophagus, right?
Oh, interesting.
Like that's the thing. That she should have been traveling in the sarcophagus asleep. It's very strange.
Well, she was the one in the sarcophagus
what we're
at
supposed
the
to
beginning?
believe.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we're supposed to believe, but yeah.
Luc Besson,
God damn it, Luke.
cared more about the costumes. So she's pleading with Corbin Dallas, like, please help. And he's just kind of like, I don't know if I can do this. And the cops have now attached a line between the two vehicles so the cop can come over to the cab and get her out and stuff. And Corbin's like, all right, fuck it, let's go. And he just like dips down and starts heading directly downwards, which we don't get a full sense of how high up we are. But I mean, this is a lot. Orders of magnitude beyond the tallest things, the structures that we have, right? Miles. You're going way down there. And we see that he ends up in this area where he says, I'm going down through the fog. And they're in New York City. In this, it says, I think. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's where the at least with the president and all, they definitely said New York for that.
So he goes down and, is able to evade the cops in this area that's the fog, which seems like, a lesser patrolled area, clearly kind of like the underground in Demolition Man type area. And he gets a little bit of the information from her, and what she's saying to him is like priest Vito Cornelius, and she's given this name,
right? And he's able to find him in the phone book because we'll have phone books in 200 years.
So phone books and radio shows are definitely going to be there.
I mean, technically, I guess Ruby Rod's a podcaster, so we should maybe show a little more respect. Anyway,
so Corbin shows up at Vito Cornelius's apartment, which is, again, like you said, just you can look it up. Even though he's like seems to be a top 5 ranking official in the government that governs 300 billion people.
I get the sense that he's brought in as an advisor in this particular situation because it's these stones and this stuff, but that like actually he's more like the religion that he represents has been kind of like, oh, okay, go sit over there. Like it's maybe even like frowned upon or sort of like not given respect anymore because nobody believes it's real. Because if you're only important every 5,000 years, like what do we care kind of thing, you know what I mean? So it feels to me like he himself, is
so he's not a big shot. He's just like the expert.
It also feels like this religion only requires a handful of people to exist to believe in it at a time, so that you can pass on to the next generation.
Yeah, you don't need followers until 5,000 years.
There's
from
no
then.
mass. It's just this priest has to keep this alive and then find a new, prodigy or whatever to like, or protege to pass it all on to. But Regardless, Dallas brings the supreme being or whatever to Vito, to Cornelius. He faints when he realizes what's happening.
He immediately says, fifth element, and dips over.
And then Dallas decides to try to kiss her, which is like very weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. She's passed out. Like, what does he think? It's the Sleeping Beauty? Like, it felt weird to me with his character, like in general.
It didn't make sense because he's not like a horny guy, not a horny character, right?
Yeah.
But maybe French director, I got to throw a little homage to Pepe Le Pew in here or something.
Belle la Bois Dormant.
So yeah, he's like trying to gently wake her up, and then he creeps in to go to kiss her, and then before he gets there, his gun is pointed at his head, and she's got the gun trained on him, and he's just like, "You're right, you're right.
My bad. I shouldn't have done that." Okay.
And he's trying to explain to her, like, "Hey, you remember me from the cab? Like, what are we?" What are we doing? Jesus Christ.
He just goes and leaves. And he asks on his way out, he asks Cornelius, "Hey, what does this mean?" And it's whatever words she said. And he goes, "It means never without my permission." He goes, "That's what I thought." Like, she told him, like, "Don't kiss me without my permission."
Right.
So then we cut to our pigmen are back, and we're walking with Zorg, with Gary Oldman's character, with one of the weirdest meaningless plastic plates on his head. Like, I can't quite figure out. I guess it's just fashion, I suppose. I can't quite figure it out.
Yeah, it's super bizarre, and it doesn't look like, it's not like you said, it's not like a metal plate that's replacing a missing piece of the skull. It does look like just a superfluous little extra plastic over his head.
So it must be a fashion choice, but he looks very, very interesting. A very deep Texas accent, it feels like, is what his accent
is really funny.
Very strange. But he goes because the pigmen have brought the case of stones to him, and so he is then delivering cases full of these really crazy guns with like every possible. It's got a flamethrower and missile launchers and something that'll freeze people in place and a net launcher, all this stuff. And they've got 4 cases worth of them. So he takes the thing and he opens up the case, and there's nothing in the case. And he gets an argument with the pigman about, like, what do I need with an empty case?
Right. I was going to give you 4 cases of weapons for 4 stones, 0 stones, 0 cases.
But then he ends up acquiescing because it looks like the pigmen are going to kill him. So he says, like, okay, 1 case. You didn't do what you're supposed to do, but I'll let you keep 1 of them. And he walks off, and he says something to his assistant about they really should have asked about what that red button was at the bottom of the gun. And then you see one of the guys like looking at it, and he presses it and it blows everybody up. It seems like so.
And his assistant, before he dealt with the pig guys, the guy was saying, like, "Oh, they want us to fire 500,000. Should we do that?" And he's like, "Fire 1 million." So he's in some kind of
control over some corporation or something. It's hard to tell exactly.
Yeah, this is one of those like Globochem International type things there.
Evil corporation invested in Starbucks.
So they find out that the stones are missing and that they are in Planet Flohston in a hotel. Well, they get that information, right?
So they call in, like, he needs to meet with Cornelius. Yes. And there's this whole scene where, like, he basically tells Cornelius, like, "I need to find these. Where are they?" And Cornelius is like, "I don't know," like, whatever. I don't remember exactly how it comes out with that. Oh, no, that's right. Because there's a cockroach with a little antenna on it Zorg's man like sends into like the government offices or whatever. I think it's like is on Cornelius and comes off of him or something like that.
Yes.
And basically overhears, that like the stones were entrusted to the diva who will be performing at Flohston Paradise or Flohston
Paradise.
So strange.
Right.
Which is like apparently the best luxury hotel in the galaxy or some shit, like whatever it is. And so that's how they get information about that.
The guy controlling the cockroach is, do you recognize that guy?
A little bit.
He's like a trip hop artist. I think he was a member of Massive Attack. Tricky.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes. Okay.
Good weird looking guy.
Yes.
Very good weird looking guy.
Not the weird looking guys from The Prodigy, but kind of in the same ballpark.
Absolutely in the same ballpark. Yeah.
Nice.
Or was Tricky in Prodigy? No, I don't think so. So let's see. So when Zorg is talking to Vito Cornelius in the office, he starts choking. So everything is automated in very funny ways. So this, like, he pushes a button and this bowl of fruit pops up on his desk and it's like fruit. And then he pulls a cherry off there and it says a cherry. So he pops this cherry in his mouth. He starts choking.
Yes.
And as he's choking, Cornelius realizes like, okay, I got a little power. I can say some stuff to this guy. And Zorg is pushing all these buttons and all this weird stuff is happening. There's like this series of Roombas and all these things that come out.
Dry cleaning pops out of somewhere. It's just very strange stuff left and right.
This creature that's his pet, which I don't understand in any way. It's like an elephant, but normal from the Garfield cartoons. And like, I don't know. I don't like it. I feel like they just had an extra guy and they were like, we have to use this in the movie. But very Dark Crystal-y. It was
and that little puppet guy did remind me of another movie, and I'm not going to think of it now, but like it really has the vibe. Well, you know what it looks like is Max Rebo from the blue guy from the band in Return of the Jedi, the beginning of Jabba's palace. Yeah. Not blue, but like a little tiny version of that guy.
Yeah.
Sort of what he looks like,
So Zorg has all this crazy shit, and Vito, ends up, because Zorg is basically like, hey, money and power are the best things. And then Vito's like, oh, now that you're choking, where good is your money and all your gadgets or whatever? Who's here to slap you on the back? So he saves him from choking.
Yeah, which saves his life, because Zorg even says, you saved my life, so I'll spare yours, but like, get the fuck out, right? Kind of thing. And then what the conversation that is overheard by the little cockroach bug includes both that, the diva has the stones and she'll be performing at Flohston Paradise. And then I don't think that they hear, or then they hear something about like, do you have somebody that can handle this? And the general's like, oh, I got just the right guy in mind. And I can't remember now if they hear that it's Corbin Dallas or not at this point, because what we cut to then is Corbin Dallas sitting at his window out to the world, which is super open and very dangerous, where a sushi boat, some kind of like Chinese looking lunch boat is sitting outside, like serving him lunch, which is great. It feels, again, very much like the noodle bar in Blade Runner, except you have to go to the noodle bar. The noodle bar doesn't come to you, but like there's a vibe there that's very similar. There's so much of this is Blade Runner coded to me. There's
a lot of Blade Runner stuff in here
for sure.
So it's kind of cool how this thing pulls up to his door, and the guy and he gets a letter in the mail. And the guy's like, I bet you it's good news. I bet you lunch, whatever. And then he finds out he's been fired from his cab job.
Done with that.
So during this time, he gets a visit now from the military people. This is his Colonel Troutman visit that he's getting, right? And they're saying, Corbin, like you're, and they run through some of his credentials, like you were special forces, you got this award and this award.
Most decorated man in your unit and the only one left alive. Very, very John Rambo.
Right. And what we need you to do is go to Flohston Paradise because we know where these stones are. So we're sending you on this mission here.
And the diva will be expecting you. Like it'll be a thing where it's like you'll just pick them up and bring them back. Like no big deal. But they've been announcing all over the radio apparently that he won this contest, which is like not the way you do that sort of thing. But whatever. He then gets another notification that is actually the information about going with like tickets and like all this stuff. And that's when he sees like his doorbell rings, whatever, and Leeloo is sitting at the the supreme being, whatever, I think she called herself Leeloo by now, is standing at the front door, and he's like, oh my God, like, and he doesn't want the military people to find them because they'll recognize her and like whatever else. So he shoves them into like his refrigerator or something, and it goes down somewhere else. And then she comes in, but also Cornelius is there, and he like threatens, Dallas and is like, give me your tickets. Like, we got to take them. I'm so sorry to do this, but like, we need to go get those stones. Then the cops show up next, I think. Yeah. And they're looking for him. So he shoves Leeloo into the shower and Cornelius into the bed, which goes, so everything gets like tucked away.
Yeah.
Right.
And when the bed goes away, there's like a second bed that's automatically made and wrapped in plastic that pops up.
Very strange.
So he pushes everyone away. His refrigerator has the capacity for 3 adults.
With no shelves in it anymore, apparently.
I think
all the
this
shelves
is
are gone.
It's a bad use of his space if he has that much. If you have a walk-in refrigerator, but then like no windows, that's not good.
No, exactly.
So they're all hidden, but the cops are coming around, and on the wall of almost every building, and then a lot of different surfaces, there are these 2 circles, right? So at different times, you'll be asked by the authorities, like, put your hand in the circles, and we're going to come scan you. So they're looking for Corbin Dallas, right? Right. And they scan. They're like, "Are you Corbin Dallas?" And he's like, "Do you identify as human?" And he says, "No, I am a meat popsicle."
So here's the thing. So they find that the neighbor, so the little Corbin Dallas, it's like he had a little card on his door, and it got put on another door. I think maybe Cornelius did or something to like uncover the people. I don't remember. The point is, the cops go to the other guy and scan him, and ask him to scan, and he's like, "No, fuck off," or whatever. So they just take him and say, "We got Corbin Dallas." Yeah. They were able to scan in 2.5 seconds Leeloo and get no file.
Yeah.
Why did they not just scan Corbin Dallas to see that he's Corbin Dallas?
Crazy.
It's so weird.
Yeah, like a tiny handwritten, obviously moved name tag on
bizarre.
the door is what they took as the full evidence. Yeah.
So they do take him away. But so the police get him, but it's the pig guys, right? Isn't that, or no, the pig guys come and ambush the cops to take the guy, right? Isn't that it? I can't remember now.
Yeah,
the
so
pigs
the pig
get
guys
somebody
end
here.
up with the guy. So they know that Corbin Dallas has won the tickets to this thing. They all know they need to go there. And the only way anyone can think of to go there is to pretend to be Corbin Dallas.
Because everything's sold out.
Because that's who's meeting the diva and all that stuff.
Exactly.
So let's see here.
This is when the movie starts getting a little complicated at this point, frankly.
I do have to say, like, Luc Besson really went crazy with this. So we're arriving now kind of at the departure center here.
Yeah, well, so Cornelius has knocked Dallas out and taken the tickets.
He's got
that's
the
the
tickets.
person. He's going to pretend that or actually his assistant is going to pretend to be Corbin Dallas, and Leeloo will be Leeloo Dallas, his wife, whatever, and they'll go so that they can retrieve the thing. It's actually not a terrible plan, except that Cornelius's assistant is milquetoast and not up for this at all. Right, very bad.
He has no fortitude at all. He is wearing a really cool, like, Devo plant pot kind of looking hat. That's a nice choice there. So they're the assistant and Leeloo now are up at the travel agent desk, and they've gotten Leeloo Dallas an ID. So they have these IDs that say multipass. Right? And the lady's like, are you Corbin Dallas? Yeah, I'm Corbin Dallas. Are you? And she's like, Leeloo Dallas, multipass. And like, clearly,
But the real Corbin Dallas shows up and basically
he shows up behind him right as things are going wrong. He's like, oh, hey, thanks for holding my spot.
Deuces, like, yeah. And so he's like, he's got his pass. So now they are the two actually getting on the ship to go to this place.
Yep.
But immediately after that, someone who looks just like the guy that was kidnapped by the cops and then kidnapped again by the pigs and a woman show up and claim to be Corbin Dallas and Leeloo Dallas, or whoever, and they're like, wait, what? And then it's like, you can see it's like maybe stress causes this, but those pig guys are like shapeshifters.
Yes.
And like the shapeshifting starts to like falter for the guy, and the woman's like, well, let's go. And they walk away. And then like
another good weird looking guy.
Yeah, exactly. And then fucking Tricky shows up or whatever to also pretend to be Corbin
Dallas. Yeah.
So everybody's trying to be Corbin Dallas.
So everyone has the same bad plan.
Exactly. But actual Corbin Dallas gets on the actual ship. So
yeah. So now Corbin, part of the deal of his winning this thing is he's going to appear the next day or later that day on Ruby Rod's show. And this is who we haven't seen yet or heard from, which would have helped if maybe the most famous radio show in the world was like on at least in a couple seconds,
like referenced in any way,
different parts, right? Because it's like, all right, what the fuck? Because it becomes a whole different movie.
It
now.
really does.
And
it shifts so hard.
We get this crazy ass scene where Chris Tucker as Ruby Rod. He is definitely like a Prince inspired type character.
A little androgynous.
This wild haircut, this blonde haircut with like a cylinder of blonde hair shooting out almost like a unicorn horn, but like a fleshlight for a unicorn horn that's coming out the front of his head. And the costume design here is great. The way the flight attendants and the ticketing agents and all this stuff, these women are dressed is very cool and futuristic looking. Like, I think they nailed that part of it.
And it's so funny that like every single person that's like not important to the plot that we meet is either a fat guy who's a cop or like a supermodel woman.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that exists. It seems like, except for like the actual characters that are in there, they're all unique. But like all the like standard people in the world are either like fat like the cop guys or they're these model women. And it's just an interesting
It's like the King of Queens universe. So Ruby Rod, we get a lot of him dancing around. The music is very weird. Reminds me a lot of the Simon Phoenix scenes in Demolition Man.
With the and
I don't know if it was, I don't think it's the same person doing the music, but really like bizarre, super 90s kind of shit.
Yep.
There's a pretty unnecessary Ruby Rod, like sex scene, like extended scene where it keeps cutting back and forth to him like going down on one of these flight attendants and then cutting to the other action with Corbin and stuff. I do not like to see Chris Tucker engaged in sexual activity on an aircraft. That's all. It's too close to home.
Here's the thing, though. I think that this part was put in. I really felt like this for years, like not just this watch through. this element of having Ruby Rod go down on this flight attendant and have sex with her, I think was included strictly for the reason that then nobody could claim Chris Tucker played a gay character. Because Ruby Rod comes off as so like androgynous in some ways and effeminate in others.
Yeah.
You would absolutely be not at all out of line to assume like, oh, that guy might be gay. Like as a character, right?
No.
But in order to make sure, for whatever reason, that was not what was going to be believed, let's make sure that he goes down on a flight attendant and then fucks her before they take off. Like,
yeah.
That was just, I honestly believe that only exists there to tell us like, and he's a hetero. Like, okay.
Right.
I guess
hey, remember, we're French.
In the mid-90s, I guess it was still important to make sure we call that out.
But Ruby Rod does have some kind of Starina style reactions to things, you know.
Like I said, very...
definitely coded. So let's see here.
So now we're ready to take off. They're putting everybody to sleep in these little sleep containers.
Yeah.
And Zorg's right-hand man, Tricky, right, is calling and saying, like, I didn't get on the plane. It's like, what do you mean, or on the ship? I think, what do you mean you get on it? Like, the real Corbin Dallas showed up. Like, I couldn't get the thing, like, blah, 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 whatever. And he was like, oh, well, that's just too bad. And then it's like, he blows him up remotely.
Yeah.
Like, the dude was wearing a bomb or something. So he just blows him up in the middle of the spaceport, which causes a bunch of chaos, but doesn't actually sort of like help anything. I do think that the Cornelius gets onto the ship through the landing gear.
Yeah.
The opposite of how we've seen landing gear used in the past.
He does. Cornelius does the reverse John Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he climbs up in the landing gear. And another puppet effect where they were pulling the vermin out of the landing gear, like these parasites that get stuck in here, and these little like balls of rat thing that they were just shooting with a flamethrower. Again, kind of unnecessary. I feel like the puppet budget was just way under, and they just did some extra shit on this. So Zorg gets a phone call.
Yes, from Mr. Shadow.
Mr. Shadow, which fucking kill yourself.
So this is actually funny. The big space ball darkness thing starts to like emanate some kind of radio wave, and the government people that are watching, 'cause now there's a bunch of ships not attacking it, but just sort of like watching it so that they have an eye on it, right? And they all say like, oh, you know, the report to the president, sir, there's some like radio waves emanating from it. And it's like, why would that happen? It's like, well, maybe it's trying to communicate. Then the fucking phone rings in Zorg's office. It's like, really? Like, what the fuck? And then he's talking, and it's this, of course, a super deep voice like, Zorg, I need the thing. Where's the stone? It's like the whole deal, right? Because I think we did mention this little bit of lore. If the 4 stones are put together and then the supreme being is in the middle of the stones, it'll be a weapon against all of evil that defeats evil. But if the evil is there, then it destroys all life throughout all of the universe. Like it's like the opposite thing, right? So that's this evil entity is trying to get to where the 4 stones are so that it can cause the death of all life. Okay. While talking to Mr. Shadow, Zorg, he just starts bleeding from his head, not from a wound.
Yeah.
The darkest, brownest blood. It's like the worst effect in the whole movie, full of good effects.
Yeah.
Why was this blood so bizarre looking? That was like, it looked like sewer water, like just dripping down his face.
Yeah, that was a weird choice.
Very strange.
Because it almost like I guess it explains the plastic thing there, because at least that came into play with the blood. But show like your nose or your ear bleeding or something like that. I don't know. Unnecessary. That whole part, skip it. So the Flohston Paradise, they're arriving, and it's like a big cruise ship, but also goes into space because it shows it in water too. But then when they arrive, it's kind of like Hawaii. They have leis, they have Polynesian music and all this stuff.
And shit. Like it's so fucking weird. Why would it be Hawaii? Anyway, so they arrive at Flohston Paradise, and Dallas gets a call from his mom, which you mentioned before. Tons of calls from his mom. Like why that's happening? Don't know.
Not funny. Doesn't help.
But she does say one funny line here, which is, "I never should have pushed you out." It's like pretty legit.
So they check into their suite. So they know that the diva is going to be staying nearby. You know, that's who they have to meet. That's who has the stones for them. But they're going to go to the concert beforehand and all that. When they check into the suite, it's very blue and opulent. I mean, a good sweepstakes winner's suite. Because a lot of times they put you in the most crap room. You know,
this looked like a presidential. This looked good.
Yeah, this was fancy. You're staying near the entertainer for the night.
There you go.
Know? Yeah. It's like rooming next to Carrot Top in Vegas.
Lovely.
So now at this concert of this diva, who is definitely a non-human thing, but there aren't other versions of that alien race that I've seen.
No.
Doesn't explain where from. It's just, not a human.
Correct.
And
some kind of alien.
Taller, tubes coming out of your head, no clothes.
7
That's
feet
a good
tall,
way to tell.
real big. Yeah. But yeah, so they go to the opera house on the ship where the show's going to happen, and Ruby Rod is doing his radio show. So at the start of this, he's got his little microphone on the whole time, and he is broadcasting everything that's happening, everything he's saying, everything he's hearing is getting broadcasted over his radio show, starting with arriving at this thing. And Leeloo's not with him. I don't know why. They don't really explain why. But Dallas is there. He's got a tux on, and he's like there to watch the show or whatever, and meet with the diva after the show, because they was told like after the show the diva will do the handoff.
Yeah, and so with the diva concert, kind of a cool scene. I mean, it doesn't fit, but nothing in this fits that well. But it is like a pretty enjoyable scene, and especially as it picks up with the singing, it gets cool. The little hand motions she's doing, where she's like popping her hands in and out, it's
almost
like
jazz hands,
very
like,
silly.
Spirit fingers.
But it's a good thing to have in the background. They're cutting back and forth between the Divas concert and these the pig guys that have broken into the Divas hotel room looking for the stone. So they're pulling it apart.
They make no attempt to explain in any way, shape, or form how the pigs got on board. No. Why did they care about impersonating Corbin Dallas to get on board if they could just get on board their entire army?
Well, they could shapeshift into like a crew member.
Right. But that's the thing. It's like it doesn't make any sense like why they even gave a shit about going that route of getting Corbin Dallas's thing, like whatever. So
and they have their own ships.
Yeah, right. So they're all there. There's like 100 of them or some shit. But they basically start they go into the diva's like room, and then like Leeloo is trying to like fight them. And so there's really this battle that's happening. Like you said, it's an intercutting back and forth between the show in the opera room, the opera theater, and then this fight happening between the pigs and Leeloo. And with the music playing the whole time. So the music track plays the whole time, but we cut visually back and forth. And it really is one of the best sequences in this movie. Very, very entertaining, a lot of fun. But then Zorg arrives as well. Like he shows up. And so like the pigs attack, Leeloo's fighting them. But then as she's kind of winning and getting close to winning, one of them has grabbed the case that they believe has the stones in it, right? And then Zorg shows up to the room with that crazy gun that he had before. And so he kills the other pigs, and then he's like shooting after Leeloo, gets her up into the ductwork above, doesn't actually kill her, but is like fighting or whatever. And he finally decides to like grab the stones and like go to leave. But then in the meantime, the pigs have taken over the ship and attack the diva.
Yeah, because
right?
the pig guys are just like, well, fuck
they know
this
the diva
then.
has
Like,
the stones. That's what they're trying.
Zorg came after us. They're like, we're just gonna fuck things up too, right? And we can sell them to somebody else. And so they're just going crazy, and they're kind of shooting up the concert. This was the point in the movie I just had to write a quote from my wife Jeannie, who looked at me and said, "I'm sorry, I hate this."
Oh man.
So there's a lot of shooting happening here. The diva gets shot, and just a lot of chaos, right? So Corbin is trying to help out. This is a pretty good shootout scene with the different stuff that's happening. Like he's taking these guys out, good like dives in slow motion and
good action sequence in general. And then but like Leeloo is out of the picture. Zorg has set a 20-minute bomb on the door to the diva's room or whatever. When Dallas tries to help the diva because she's been shot, she tells him about who Leeloo is, basically. Like she's the supreme being, but like also she's fragile. Like she needs you. Like you need to help her, kind of thing. You can't just trust that, whatever, you got to find her. But she's the weapon that kills the evil, basically. So like you need her, and she needs the stones. And he goes, well, I don't have the stones. Where are the stones? She goes, the stones are in me. And so he pulls them out of her like stomach. This is when we see Zorg having left, already on his little ship to escape because he set that 20-minute bomb, drives off. That's when he decides to open the case. No fucking way. Like this guy already got bamboozled by an empty case he thought had the stones in it. There is no way he walks out of that hotel room without opening the fucking box. I'm sorry.
I don't leave the fucking Taco Bell window without verifying my bag is the stuff that I ordered.
Seriously.
Right? Like it's so high stakes to wait that long. Like it's ridiculous.
This fits just like Bucco saying, make it look like an accident or whatever in Desperado. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, but sure enough, he's left. And so he has to come back because he doesn't have the stones. Okay, so where are we? So Dallas has pulled them out of the diva. That's the last thing I have here.
So Dallas has the stones now. He is kind of cornered in the bar area by these pig guys who are like shooting at him and stuff. He's looking around for help. Ruby Rod, no help there. He's just kind of freaking out. There's another guy they introduced earlier who's like a famous actor, but he's deaf.
Right.
You know, so there's a gag where Corbin Dallas is like, hey, like throw me that gun. And the guy like looks over at him kind of cluelessly, and then finally like throws him something and like gives him a look like, did I do good? And he just threw him like 2 pool balls.
Yeah, like couple billiard balls, like Jesus.
So there's like some goofy shit where he has one of the pig guys like gets launched on the other end of a board and his head sticks through the ceiling above him, and then I don't know. But a decent shootout and explosion here, and we're flashing back to Zorg's bomb and we see that there's only 10 minutes left.
Yep. And then that's when Zorg turns around to head back to the ship because he realizes he doesn't have the stones.
Yep.
There's more fighting.
They've got Vito as a hostage.
That's right.
They're
pigs,
called.
right?
I did write this down. The Mangalores. That's what they were called.
That's right. Because Dallas says if you kill the leader, Mangalores don't fight without their leader. Which is like, lucky you, I guess. Maybe Bucco is a Mangalore.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay.
Good scene where he looks in very quickly.
Yes.
So they've got Vito at gunpoint and there's a bunch of them in there. And Corbin just quickly peeks around the corner. He's like 7 on the left, 4 on the right. And then turns around, like fires a few shots off. And then he's like 3 on the left, 2 on the right. So
that's a good stuff.
But buried in this.
And then they call out, send out somebody to negotiate. And he's like looking at like the XO, like the executive officer on the ship or whatever, who, by the way, was also the young crew member on Event Horizon, the one who goes out the airlock at one point and almost dies out in the vacuum of space. That's the same actor. Yeah.
He's also Norm, the guy who pretends to be the British professor in Something About Mary and is actually just the pizza guy.
That's right. Anyway, good stuff from him. But, so Dallas is like, yeah, I'll come negotiate. So he just walks right up and just, one shots the leader into the, in between the eyes, which, sure enough, makes all the rest of them just, we're just going to leave.
No
now.
Revenge.
Yeah. No. There's no, I'm just going to go. I didn't get paid for this mission, but I'm just going to leave now.
Yeah.
Suddenly I'm very scared. Very weird. But yeah.
So they find Leeloo. He's looking around for Leeloo. He finds her up in the vents.
Yep.
She's not as good at negotiating the vents as Bruce Willis was in Die Hard, or as good as Billy Tepper was in Toy Soldier.
That's true. She did get shot though, so I think that's part of. I think she's starting to bleed. It got slowed down a little bit.
But the bomb, as Vito walks into the room, they're all kind of catching each other, and he's just kind of like up, like just such a stupid fucking.
And there's the thing: the fucking bomb's been there for 15 minutes. It says 5 minutes now on the thing, and he's like, "Is that a bomb?" And they're like, "No, of course it's not." Because this ship has alarms that detect bombs and go off whenever it detects a bomb. And at that exact moment, the alarm goes off. There's a bomb on the ship. Why the fuck didn't that happen 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so everyone's running, everyone's evacuating the ship there.
Causing a full evacuation. Yes.
So they end up, barely escaping, of course, with 1 second left, and Zorn doesn't make it.
Yeah. Well, Zorg
so
comes
he's
back.
Blown up.
Well, no, Zorg comes back and turns off the bomb. He diffuses it.
Oh, that's right. But there's a secondary bomb.
The pigs
One of the pig guys had like a thing on his wrist that, raised the other bomb that then just had 5 seconds. It wasn't another 20 minutes. It was just whatever time was left. So that bomb communicates with the other.
Or did they just have a 5 second bomb? Because that's
right.
A 5 second fuse is plenty.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. Jesus Christ. Anyway,
so Zorg is done. He's no longer a factor.
Right.
The
Dallas
big guys are no longer a factor.
Right. Dallas steals his ship. He's got Leeloo. He's got the stones. He's got Cornelius, all on his ship, and Ruby Rod.
Yep.
And they all escape on Zorg's ship as the Flohston, whatever the fuck, Paradise blows up, killing Zorg and lots of other people probably. But yeah, then the president and the generals are shown celebrating because it's like, oh, they got the stones and they got this and like whatever. And then it's like, oh, the evil planet is now racing towards us at like 12,000 miles a second or some shit. Like,
Totally a mission accomplished banner moment by the president and crew.
Yep.
So they're heading towards Earth in this ship. And on the ship, again, this is just another fucking this is something that a 14-year-old would put in the movie is Leeloo is watching she's going through the Encarta CD of encyclopedias.
Because she only got to V, she said.
Yeah,
she told
so she
Dallas, only got to V.
And then she gets to W, and then war comes up, right?
War.
And she's watching all these horrific. And you will never meet a person who's more against war than me.
Fucking A.
This is the ham-handedest shit I've ever seen. If you had a hand made of ham, you could construct a full ham using that thing that they made Leeloo with at the beginning.
You know the only thing I hate more than war, Nick? The only thing I hate more than war is shitty fucking plot points like this.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm pro-war after watching this.
Well,
now.
I'm not going to go there, but hey, to each their own.
So like it shows her watching it and kind of like breaking
crying
down.
And,
but again, that belongs in a movie that includes elements of this movie, but I don't know. I don't know if it all fits.
That should be in the sixth element. Do the next one. This is
So they land. Luckily, there's a parking spot right at that pyramid. Well,
to be fair, it's the middle of fucking nowhere. There's nothing within. Like they're it's not near other temples.
No, nothing.
It's nothing at all.
So they nailed it, and they've got the stones. So they end up in this room, and there's kind of 4 pillars surrounding this big area in the middle. So one is for each of the stones, and they're trying to figure out, all right, what goes where. And each of the stones has kind of a symbol on the side, so I could tell, okay, the fire's this. And then
nothing
now
happens.
what do we do?
And so I think it's Leeloo is not well. Like she's not doing well, but she does crack out a couple of sentences to Dallas, something about like wind blows, fire burns, something like that. That's all she says, and it's like that's nothing. But the assistant guy, Cornelius's assistant, like sighs right on the wind one, and it moves a little. And they were trying to figure out how it happened, and they eventually figure out, and Corbin like blows on it, and sure enough, it like a bunch of fucking little sparkles come above it. So it's like, okay, do it. So the Cornelius sweats onto the water one, and they pick up some dust and dirt and drop it onto the earth one, and then the fire one, Ruby Rod's the fire one. He goes like, Corbin, I ain't got no fire, Corbin, I ain't got no matches, Corbin. So sure enough, Corbin has a matchbook with him, or a matchbox with one match left, which, by the way, looked like it was used. The top was black.
That's definitely what my wife said when she saw that. She said that match has already been used.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know why they do it that way, but a little bit of tension as he lights the match, and is he going to get it?
And he says,
he barely touched it.
Don't breathe. Don't anybody breathe. And then it like starts to flicker. That little flame. This last chance they have to save all of humanity is just on this one match head.
That's right. And now all the stones are opened, and we've got Leeloo in the middle, and what the fuck? Isn't something supposed to happen?
Yeah.
And she's Corbin's like, okay, it's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to work. You have to work.
Do your thing.
She's like, I just am still really depressed from all that war stuff I saw on Encarta. And why should I save you fucks if you can't save yourselves? Like, we've come this far.
I have a mission that I have to accomplish once every 5,000 years, but I'm not gonna.
I'm taking a me
war
day
sucks, right?
because
I need to reflect on what I've learned. I need to really, like, I don't think it's worth it. Humanity clearly is sick. Like, she turns into fucking Agent Smith or whatever from the Matrix. Like, you're clearly a parasite. You're not really a species. You're not a mammal.
And then she's getting all in her own feelings where he's like, no, we need you. And she's like,
there are some good things too.
What good am I other than saving the world? I bet you'll find another girlfriend as soon as you do. So it's apparent that all Corbin needs to do is say, I love you, to activate the switch that will save humanity. And he's just like
struggling.
I got commitment issues here, baby. So the priests are kind of like egging him on, are you going to do it? And during this time now, we have this countdown, which has been, to 3 minutes and 1 minute of when this giant thing, which is already they said 1,200 miles across,
something
or something
ridiculous.
It was like the size of the moon or something like that.
Yeah.
Flying at the earth. And luckily, he says, I love you. And the thing is stopped with like 1 second left.
Yeah.
But then you're still left with this thing hovering. Is that not going to affect the tides? Like, that's going to fuck everything
It's a second
up.
moon.
Right?
It's now a second moon.
That's terrible.
Could you imagine what would have happened if it approached the Earth from the other side?
Yeah.
Luckily, it came right over the top of that temple so that perfectly straight beam of energy goes right into it.
It couldn't have scooped around the earth to hit it.
How lucky.
Yeah, that worked out really nice. And they say, as it stops, they say it was 62 miles from impact. There's no way it's hovering 62 miles above the Earth.
I had a higher score for this movie when we started this conversation.
So they saved the day. They saved the day, and this giant moon-sized body is just frozen 62 miles above Earth with no future consequence.
Right.
And at the end of it, we've got you know, okay, we're back and we're recovering. So the president and the generals is like, oh, great job, you know, never any doubt. And he's coming in the room. Where's the hero? I need to talk to him. Oh, they're actually still recovering in the recovery tube where she was built in the first place. And then the scientist goes and like looks in there, and then he's like, whoa, maybe we should give him a little bit of time, because they're humping in there. And it ends with the president like taking the phone call from Corbin Dallas's mom. And this terrible song is playing at the end of the movie. I don't know what it is, but it fucking sucks. And it kind of, then we get like a distorted little look into the window where Leeloo and Corbin are getting it on. And that is
literally the last image of the entire movie.
That's it. That's it for the fifth.
I'm serious. I had a score in my mind. I always write down a score when I'm done watching a movie, and I've taken my notes. I had a score, and it's going to be lower what I end up saying today, because talking through this, I think I was giving it so much credit because I'd seen it before.
Yeah.
And so there were elements of it that I just accepted because I'd seen it before. But when I really think about it, like, fuck, there are some dumb ass things that happen in this movie.
No, same with me.
But here's the thing. This was your pick, so you should go first, Nick.
Okay.
Like, you should let us know what you think.
And, you know, I'm apologizing to my 18-year-old self and all my friends then. You guys aren't idiots. You guys aren't stupid. You guys just will learn a lot in your lives that make this movie look different to you when you get older. So I hadn't seen this in a decade, probably, maybe more.
Yeah.
But I had such fond memories of it. And like in my head, the things I'd picture about this movie are, the cool like future city where the cab is zooming through there.
The lunch
and then this
is
cool,
like a great,
really cool visual. And then we're in space on this opulent cruise ship thing and like crazy costumes, and that's really cool. And that's there, but that's not that much of the movie. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like we get way too much of. The pig guys, we're seeing them too much. Just shapeshift and then be the shapeshifted guy that kind of looks like former Minnesota Vikings quarterback Dante Culpepper. That's one of the guys that he looked like. He had small hands though, so he tended to fumble those giant weapons often. So that I didn't like. Like you said, the building of the world without paying enough of it off. It's like you're giving us all this background of this ancient stuff. Like the whole beginning sequence with Luke Perry was a big chunk of the movie. And then for the result to be, we create this thing and she learns how terrible war is and how terrible people is. But I'm going to go ahead and save this society, and we're not going to learn anything. There's not really any commentary on like what a fucking hellscape the world has become. Everyone's just kind of fine with it. But I mean, as far as like problems that we have and like disparity in the lifestyle of different human beings that are living on the planet would be fucking crazy. Like the people in Flohston Paradise versus whoever lives in the fog. I'm interested in that. And Luc Besson was just smoking a cigarette, riding a bicycle with a baguette under his arm saying, je sais quoi. So it is hard to give this a high rating. And I think, I hate to do this, but Fifth Element is just a 2 out of 5 for me. I was a little disappointed, and it was long. I mean, there are parts of it that are entertaining, but as far as tying this shit together, I don't think he did that for me.
Yeah. Very, very fair points you make all together. And I think I had a very similar, and I kind of got to it just before you gave your thing, right? But like, I remember liking so much of this movie. Like I said, when I first saw it, I just thought it was weird. But like, I also at like 17 wasn't into weird stuff. I've gotten more into like absurdist comedy and sort of fantastical, whimsical sort of plot lines and different things over time. And so, you know, in a lot of ways, I thought to myself, oh, this is probably more up my alley now than it was, you know, then. And I think the problem is that not enough of it really works is the problem. Like you talk about like all this sort of backstory we get and all this sort of like information and stuff. And my problem is actually that we get so little. There's so little that gets explained or understood or whatever. And we just sort of like have to accept it. And look, you can't ask a movie to give you all the backstory necessary for all these things. So it either has to like have a much simpler plot, or you need it to be like a fucking TV series or something. You know what I mean? Like this could have been an 8 hour long, 8 episode limited series and probably made a hell of a lot more sense.
Explain some more stuff. Well, and your points about Blade Runner, which is a movie that does an excellent job of explaining the world that exists. It's like this didn't do any of that stuff.
Total Recall. Tells us so much about the existence of people in the world at the time. and it's just better in so many ways than the way this approaches its world building. So there's that. And then it's like the whimsy and craziness is like fun in a lot of ways, but it also gets tiring. I agree with you that the pig characters are just like, we see way too much of these fucking weird rubber masks the whole time.
Does HD, I think we might have talked about this before, but the fact that I have like a, 70-inch HD TV at my house, does that make me like this less when I was watching it on a 19-inch like TV CRT with a VHS, because you're not noticing the limitations of some of these practical effects as much, but
maybe, but I'll say I watched it on a 12-inch iPad, so didn't really help.
Better resolution than my old Zenith, but still
didn't really help. So and like I said, I had come in with a thought of a score that wasn't like a high score, but was like, a tepid thumbs up sort of thing. And I don't think I can stick with that now. Like after talking it through with you, it's like, this movie's a mess. So much of it is just a mess. And actually, I think I'm right where you are. I think I'm at a 2. I don't think it's worse than that, because there are elements of it that are fun and interesting. There are still parts of it that like Leeloo Dallas multipass, like there's little things that'll always kind of stick with us.
Some moments for sure.
But man, this is not a good movie. Yeah. It's just not. So that makes
I was surprised at the ratings that we saw at the beginning.
The 2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert in retrospect is like interesting. I think they really loved Luc Besson and really wanted to like, this feels avant-garde in some ways. And I think that grabbed a lot of people. So the dads are a 4 out of 10 on The Fifth Element. If you disagree with us, you can email us at yourwrong@twodads1movie.com. No, just actually the real email address is theshow@twodads1movie.com. You can send us your notes. You can absolutely send us yours.
Yeah, please too. I know there's a lot of fans of this movie out there.
Absolutely.
And, if there's something deeper that you think we're missing, then go ahead and invent it and tell us.
Yeah, I actually worry that, or I would be more interested in what's not deep that I'm missing. What's the surface level thing that went past me that would have explained some of this shit? Anyway, that is what we've come to on The Fifth Element, and I think that makes it my pick for next week.
Yeah. What do we got coming up, Steve?
We're going to shift tonal gears significantly and not only head back to the 80s and not the 90s, but we're going to a much more sort of traditional comedy, a very 80s style comedy. This is a movie that I have introduced many people to in my life. I know a lot of people growing, like my wife had never seen this before we got together. And definitely some people, not a lot of people who'd not ever seen it. And it's one of those movies that like I adore. Like it's like there's a lot of things online you'll see sometimes about, millennials in particular. And we're sort of, the very oldest part of that generation. There's something about that one movie your family had on VHS that you watched the shit out of. It doesn't matter if it was a good one or not, it was yours.
Yep.
And that was there are 2 movies that really tick that box for me. One of them is Iron Eagle, which we will watch at some point for sure, even if it is jingoist propaganda.
Love Lou Gossett, though.
Absolutely do. This one's the other one, and it's John Candy, and he plays an air traffic controller taking his family on vacation to Florida, where he runs into Richard Crenna, who is the awful, just terrible Captain Al Pele. Rip Torn is in this, playing essentially a modern day pirate. The movie is Summer Rental, and it's just so much fun. But I'm fully accepting, dude, we're going to go into this next week when we talk about this movie, and I'm going to like it more than you are. I don't know if that's for sure, but I love this movie. Have you ever seen Summer Rental?
I have seen it, and definitely not as much as it's probably more well-known, very similar movie, The Great Outdoors, right?
That was the bigger hit,
but I've definitely seen Summer Rental, and I can't imagine being mad at a John Candy movie. So
there's that.
I'm ready to sit back and enjoy it. It might not fulfill all of my art film expectations, but I think there's no way it's not going to be fun. I love John Candy. I love it.
It also has one of the few actually good Jimmy Buffett songs in it that you can't find anywhere.
Oh.
There is a montage in Summer Rental backed by a Jimmy Buffett song that is not released on any Jimmy Buffett records ever. It was only released on the soundtrack for Summer Rental, which does not exist on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere else. It is the hardest to find Jimmy Buffett song ever, and it's a decent song, which I am not a fan. So that is not, I don't like Cheeseburger in Paradise and Margaritaville and shit, but it's called Turnin' Around, and it's actually a pretty legit like 80s montage banger, which we will get to. We'll definitely talk about next week. That's a wrap. So if you like what you hear, please consider heading over to Apple or Spotify and leaving us a 5-star review. It helps new folks find the show. Be sure to check out our website at twodads1movie.com. That's the number 2 and the number 1. There you can explore the movies we've covered, sign up for our newsletter, The Rewind, and even get sneak previews of upcoming episodes. Once again, this has been The Fifth Element, another episode of Two Dads, One Movie. I'm Steve.
And I'm Nick.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks, everyone.